Welcome to Love You Longmont. I'm Linda Bond, and today we're going to be talking about Restaurant Week. We have two very special guests with us today. Karen Stollard is the Membership Director of the Longmont Chamber of Commerce, and Leah Winkler is the brand new Event and Program Director. Thank you both very much for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I'm delighted. I love the idea of Restaurant Week. It sounds like so much fun because I think people have no idea what a wonderful restaurant scene there is in Longmont. How did this come about, Karen?
Well, it's exciting to hear that you're excited because that's the exact reason why Longmont Restaurant Week exists now.
Right.
Is because a lot of people in Longmont were excited about the idea of celebrating the growth in the culinary scene in Longmont. So the idea of Longmont Restaurant Week actually came from the restaurateurs here in Longmont. So I started talking to Carmen Sample and Teresa McPhill from Sample's World Bistro, respectively, and Max Place.
Right.
And they were just really wanted to celebrate the growth and have an event that showcased all that Longmont food has to offer. So Longmont Restaurant Week was the idea last year, about October of last year, and it wasn't until Leah Winkler joined us as our event and program director in December that we were able to say, yeah, we can pull this off in 5 months. Let's do this. So,
do you think this is a significant time for restaurants in Longmont?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you haven't been to Longmont in the last year, the last 5 years, then you probably wouldn't recognize a lot of the faces here in Longmont, especially in the food and beverage scene. It's tremendous, and that's why something like Longmont Restaurant Week is so exciting.
Well, Leah, do you have any idea how many restaurants are in Longmont?
So we know for certain that we have over 60 restaurants, breweries, and distilleries that are members of the chamber, but we know that there are over 100 restaurants actively making delicious food here in Longmont now. 17 new restaurants, breweries popped up just last year, so it's a really growing, exciting scene.
That is an exciting scene. One of the things that you all talked about doing was first just recruiting restaurants. So how did they sign up? Did you exclude any restaurants?
No, actually, we didn't. And there was an intentional reason behind that as well. We wanted to make sure that the entire diversity and breadth of everything that we have in Longmont is represented. So we have restaurants all the way from your local loved locally operated franchises like Blackjack Pizza, all the way up to the finer dining restaurants here in town like Sugar Beet and Martini's Bistro.
Wow.
We have chamber members and non-chamber members alike, so it's not just exclusively the chamber. We're really trying to reach out to any restaurant who's interested in being a part of this event.
It's obviously also not just downtown.
Correct, yeah.
Absolutely.
We have restaurants over in Village at the Peaks all the way over to Pace Street in Longmont, like Max Place.
And one of the things that you decided to do, Karen, is that they are going to charge $18.71. Now that is so random.
Yes, that doesn't include tax or gratuity. The $18.71 price point is actually a homage back to when Longmont was founded, which is 1871.
Oh, wow.
And one of the reasons it was meaningful to us when we moved forward with that was that it really showcases how far Longmont's come and reminds people of the history here. I mean, we started as an agriculture community, so to be celebrating food, I think, is fitting in 2018. I have to give credit where credit's due, because Kimberly McKee actually had this conversation a year before me, I think, with Carmen Sample about a restaurant week for downtown. But Kimberly really wanted it to be more than just downtown. It needed to be more than Longmont, but the Longmont Downtown Development Authority couldn't take that charge. So she actually came up with the 1871 price point, and we loved the idea so much. So when we started talking about the idea of organizing the restaurant week as the Longmont Chamber, I did a brain dump with her, and she gave me the 1871 price point idea and just said, how can you make that work? You know, we had some hiccups that some restaurants, that's way too low, and we have some restaurants telling us, how will we give what we sell normally for 1871?
Yeah.
So the purpose behind the price point is that it really allows restaurants to get creative. If for Sugar Beet, they'll be offering an entree at $18.71, and with an average entree price there of normally about $25, that's a great deal.
That is
and
a great
they just
deal.
have to be really strategic about what they're offering for that price point. For someone like Blackjack Pizza or Max Place Diner, it'll be maybe pizza for 4 or breakfast or lunch for 2 people for $18.71.
Oh, that's a great idea.
So it's really challenging the restaurateurs to, if you want to make yourself fit into Restaurant Week, you absolutely can. And that's the whole purpose, is getting back to those creative culinary roots that I think a lot of chefs in Longmont will really enjoy.
Do you think that they're trying to fit into the 1871? Do you think they'll serve things that they don't usually serve, or are you encouraging them to do what they do?
We've actually encouraged restaurants to do what they do best. Our intention behind this for participants that aren't restaurants, so you, us going out to eat, is that we would get the best of what that restaurant has to offer at a discount, something that's a little more special than what they would normally have on their regular menu, but absolutely encouraging them to maintain their brand, maintain the feeling that you would get if you were to become a repeat customer. We want to make sure that restaurants show their best side, so that first-time comers to their restaurants become new fans.
Well, we're going to talk about what we would do as participants, people who come to eat. But let's talk about the restaurants. How did they sign up?
So they signed up through longmontrestaurantweek.com. We opened that website early this year. I believe it was the first week of January that website went live. Right. And it was entirely geared towards recruiting restaurants. So it had all of the guidelines of participating, when they needed to have signed up by, all of the guidelines for marketing, when you needed to have your menu turned in, and then the run of Restaurant Week, which is of course April 20th through the 29th. So that's how, that was the portal for restaurants to sign up. We did a lot of boots on the ground phone calls. It was really tremendous to have Carmen Sample, Mark Sample, and Teresa making phone calls as fellow restaurateurs that are really behind this effort, because that's a much more powerful phone call than coming from the Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
And so a lot of restaurateurs, I think, responded to that, because that's where this whole idea came from, was within the restaurant community. So having those phone calls, I think, got a lot of attention, which is why we have over 37 participating venues now.
Oh my goodness. You had hoped for 30.
Yes, that's correct.
That was the goal.
We beat that goal. Very excited about it.
Yeah, and it's really exciting if you take a look at Longmont Restaurant Week compared to other more established restaurant weeks. As an example, First Bite down in Boulder has a very similar number of participating venues, despite the fact that they have been around for several years. And that's not to bash First Bite or anything. They're a phenomenal event and showcase Best of Boulder as well. But it's just really exciting for us to see that we are on that level, and people might not have always considered Longmont to be, you know,
a culinary
Boulder.
destination,
exactly.
right?
So,
Culinary
no, we're there. We're right up with them.
You know, it always surprises me when people say something about Longmont being a little town. You know, we are, Boulder has 102,000 people, and we have 92,000 people and growing. So, I mean, it's not a small town is 1,000 people.
Yeah.
It's not really a small town, and not really surprising that there would be great restaurants here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, these restaurants, they became, they pay a little to be in it though, right?
Yeah, that goes directly to marketing the event. So one thing that was nice for us as the Chamber of Commerce for organizing this, we like to give benefits to our members. So there was a price difference if you were a chamber member, just adding value to the fact that we're trying to make business better for our members and for Longmont as a whole. So there was a price tier, whether you were a chamber member. It was $200 as a chamber member and $350 for non-members? Yes, 350 for non-members. And that was really important to us. But that money goes directly into marketing Longmont Restaurant Week.
Smart.
So for our intensive purposes, we are marketing Longmont. We're marketing Longmont Restaurant Week, and we're marketing the restaurants.
Oh, that's smart.
So we are not preparing their menus. We're not serving that night. We are letting restaurants do what they do best, and then we as the chamber will be marketing Longmont and the restaurants to get people here to enjoy the food that they're
I
making.
think this is significant also. People aren't paying you to come to the restaurant.
Correct.
The restaurants are charging themselves. Is that right? Or
Absolutely.
Can you explain that?
You're just eating like you would normally eat at a restaurant.
Right.
They will have a special menu that night. They will also be offering their regular menus alongside with the Restaurant Week menus. So it's not, when you go to the Longmont Restaurant Week website and see the menus as they start getting published really soon.
Right.
You'll see what people are offering special for that week only, and only at that price point. So you won't be able to substitute, well, I really wanted this entree, can I have that for the $18.71? no, this is what the restaurants have prepped in mass for the lots of people that will be coming.
Sure.
But they'll have their traditional menu out there as well. So just as if you were going out for a date night or dinner in Longmont, usually you just go to the restaurant, sit down, talk to your server, make your order, and you pay them directly. There will be more people though, so don't show up at 6:30 and expect it to be empty and get your
Right.
regular seat. So.
That's a good point. So do people need to reserve online for the restaurant week, or how does that work?
Sure. So there are no reservations for the week itself. There are no tickets that you need to purchase, as Karen kind of hit on.
That's
It is
good.
not really a habit change. It's just you going out and enjoying dinner at any participating venue in Restaurant Week. It's highly encouraged that you make reservations at the venues that offer it, because we are expecting more traffic coming into those venues. Not every restaurant accepts reservations, so get them where you can and show up where they don't.
I talked to Sean Hefner, who owns Hefe's and the Roost, and he says the Roost always takes reservations, but Hefe's doesn't.
Correct.
So you must reserve to get into the Roost, but show up and take your chances at Hefe's.
Yeah.
So that's challenging.
And we're going to kind of help guide consumers and diners in that way. We're
Right.
asking all of the restaurants, do you accept reservations? Do you not? And that will be listed on their profile on longmontrestaurantweek.com. So while you're
good.
not going through the chamber, your information hub for Longmont Restaurant Week is longmontrestaurantweek.com. We're encouraging all of the restaurants to put their special menu and put a banner for Longmont Restaurant Week on their website.
That's good.
But that's just strongly encouraged. We're not going to
Sure.
audit all 37 of the venues. We'd love for them all to
Force
do
them to
it,
do
because
it.
it'll really help that consistency and that experience for the week. But longmontrestaurantweek.com will be where you get all the information about Restaurant Week. I will also say that we have some venues, such as Max Place, that's not open for dinner. They will not be offering a dinner menu for Longmont Restaurant Week. They offer breakfast and lunch, and they do it really well. And so we'll also have notations on each restaurant what service times they'll be offering their Longmont Restaurant Week menu.
I see.
So Max Place will say breakfast and lunch. They will have two menus, one for breakfast, one for lunch, at that $18.71 price point. So all of that information will be housed, like I said, at longmontrestaurantweek.com.
Do you think they'll also have something hanging in the window to let people know?
Oh,
They
absolutely.
will, because we are providing it for them.
That's
so,
smart.
Yeah, we'll definitely be rolling out kind of standardized marketing throughout the restaurants. So every participating venue will have a poster in the window saying, "We are a participating venue of Longmont Restaurant Week. Come on in. We've got something delicious for you."
And I would imagine that although everything's on the website, it'll also be on your phone, because you just
Yeah.
pull it up on your phone and there you stand in front of it and
Yep.
find out what they're offering.
When Leah designed our website, she definitely made sure that it was mobile friendly.
Yeah.
And some people don't consider that, but I use my phone a lot more than I use my computer. So
Yep.
I do understand that.
Because your computer doesn't fit in your pocket.
That is so true. You've seen my computer. So how do you recommend, and you can both talk about this if you want, how do you think people should approach Restaurant Week?
The exciting thing about Restaurant Week is there are so many participating venues. You could eat at a different place every meal for the whole 10 days and still not touch on everyone who's participating.
Wow.
I think Karen and I have this kind of inside joke that we're just going to save up all of our date night money and go crazy during the event to make
Every
sure we
night.
try to support as many
Right.
restaurants as we can.
That's neat.
So we would highly encourage, anyone else to do the same.
Yeah. Stay hungry, Longmont.
hungry,
Stay
yeah.
hungry. Not
Yeah.
to quote Dos Equis, but stay hungry. That's totally what it's about. I mean, it's really exciting as we're on the forefront of seeing the collaboration between the restaurants, the brainstorming of what they're going to offer. Samples is doing a spin off of what got featured on their diners, drive-ins, and dives
Oh,
show.
and I
with-
want to talk about that too.
Yeah.
Go
Okay.
finish your sentence and then
Okay.
we'll talk about that.
Well, they featured the poutine burger, of course, if you've seen that episode. They are doing a slight spin on that, same flavors. They're doing a poutine burrito for Restaurant Week. It'll only be available during Restaurant Week. It's going to have the same flavor and comfort food goodness that the poutine burger has, but they're doing something special for Longmont Restaurant Week. So as all of these menus start coming out, we're just salivating over
Oh,
here,
my
just
goodness,
so
you are.
excited for the 10 days that are coming. And I think as we start talking to more and more people, they're realizing that with 37 restaurants, you have so much possibility in what you can eat that week. And definitely just mark your calendars and plan ahead and go out a lot that week.
I don't think everyone knows about Longmont being featured on the Food Network. What a thing. Can you all talk about who was featured?
Yeah, absolutely. There were lots of restaurants that were featured on that. They did a shoot, I think, in fall last year, and they shot at The Roost with Sean and Dan, and they also shot at The Post and Samples World Bistro. So all of those 3 restaurants were featured on Guy Fieri's show, the Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives.
I think Georgia Boy too, possibly.
I was in a different show, and I can't recall which one that was. I'm sorry that I don't remember that. But Georgia Boys was also featured there as well, and I think there was a 5th also that I'm also not recalling.
So across the United States, people are seeing information about Longmont.
Yeah.
That does kind of smack of being a culinary destination.
Absolutely, and I think it kind of debunks what a lot of people who grew up in Longmont, myself included, thought of Longmont. And a lot of people that are just down the road from Longmont that say, oh, I'm not going to go out to eat in Longmont, and then they come here and they see all that's being offered or see it on the Food Network and go, that's in Longmont?
Right.
I mean, and I think that's the wording, that's the way it comes across. So they're like, Longmont?
Right.
And it's like, yeah, Longmont.
Longmont.
And I think that type of pride and culture and identity is really what's shaping Longmont from this small, big town where you still can walk in and see Mark Sample serving beer in his restaurant, and he will happily sit down and talk to you. I mean, I think that small town feel that everyone talks about in Longmont is that people love collaborating and showcasing what an amazing place this is. And why not do that over dinner and a beer?
Oh, that's so neat. Well, we do have beer in Longmont.
We do.
We
lot of
do
beer.
have the
We
beer.
do, we do.
Let's talk a little bit about a video that you all had done. Who's featured in the video, Leah?
Yeah, we have 4 featured restaurants in this promotional video for Longmont Restaurant Week. That's Martini's Bistro, Motherlode Cafe, Samples World Bistro, and Gross and Bart Brewery actually came in as
a good idea.
The last featured restaurant. Yeah, we really wanted to kind of round out the variety of things that you can get here, including breweries. Now, Gross and Bart doesn't serve food explicitly, but they are preparing their own special 1871 menu at the brewery nonetheless.
How fun is that?
Yeah. So we have a couple guys, Camilo and Chad from Connecto, a video production company and marketing company, who jumped on the project. They've done work for Samples World Bistro before, so we'd seen their work. We know this is exactly the feel we're trying to establish for here in Longmont. It's exciting and fast-paced, and we've gotten a little preview of some of the footage that's come out so far, and it's beautiful. So
That's
we're
so
really
exciting.
excited for it to come out.
You know, a thing that surprised me is not only are restaurants getting involved, but some of the other businesses in town.
Yeah, I think that just speaks to the collaborative mentality that is Longmont. So we got a call from Kirsten Pelsier of Ace Hardware and also the owner of the Kitchen Company asking us, how can the Kitchen Company get involved in Restaurant Week? We would love to offer a special cooking class that week. And it just taps into, if you want to be a part of this, there's absolutely a place for you. Even Ivy Rose, the new women's clothing store downtown, when I talked to them about Restaurant Week, she wanted to offer date night clothing so that the weeks before Restaurant Week, people can go out and get the special price point of $18.71 for everything she has on a special rack for getting date night ready for Restaurant Week. So there are so many ways to be creative about this. We've talked to some childcare facilities about offering an $18.71 price point for date night.
Oh my goodness.
Still looking to maybe get that sponsored in case anyone's interested in that. It's really a community effort going to be pulling off everything that's showcasing what Longmont does, and food's a huge part of that, but there's so much more here. We're welcoming anyone that wants to participate and just tie into Restaurant Week.
And we actually have a couple more businesses already officially signed up. Imagine More, and it's a furniture showroom downtown, as well as the Gold Market Jewelers are offering anywhere between 10 and 15% off during Restaurant Week to anyone who comes in with a valid receipt from a participating venue during the week. So
That's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, we're trying to bring it full circle because we want to bring the attention of Longmont Restaurant Week back to the restaurants, but we love that businesses see the potential here and want to say, we love restaurants too, so come on in and we'll cut any other foodie a deal because we know we love food and you love food. So.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
neat. Well, we just have a few more minutes, but let's talk about some of the other restaurants that you already know what they might be serving, just to get us all thinking about it.
Oh, all right.
How about martinis? Do you have any idea what they might serve? Because they are one of the most, I don't mean to say expensive, but one of the most exclusive
White tablecloth,
White
higher end,
tablecloth,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
well said.
I don't know if we've actually seen their menu yet, so I can't speak to that unless Leah has.
I do not know.
I know when we talked to Sugar Beet, when they said yes, they talked about offering a chicken dish, a fish dish.
Like a selection of 4 different entrees.
Yeah.
Oh, that's neat.
But honestly, the deadline is quickly approaching for restaurants to turn in their menus, so I think we'll have a lot more to come soon, and you'll just have to salivate over them once they hit. I know you also talked to Sean about this, but they're bringing it back to the homage of what they did so well on with the diners, drive-ins, and dives. So they're doing a 3-course menu pairing for the 1871, starting off with the bangin' cauliflower, which if you haven't had that, it is the best way to make vegetables not healthy.
Karen pushed the bangin' cauliflower on me the
so
first time I went to the
good.
Roost, and now I can't stop thinking about
People
it.
are like, cauliflower.
It haunts my dreams.
It's so good. And so they're tying in that with a main entree and then also a dessert that they're offering, which normally after you've eaten a whole meal, you may not have room for dessert. But if they can do that to cauliflower, I can only imagine what they do with dessert.
Oh, honey, have you not tried their deep dish chocolate chip cookie?
No.
Oh,
We
but I
need to
want it right
remedy this.
All right, Sean, we need the deep dish.
Sounds great.
But so I think as these menus start getting released, we're encouraging restaurants to take pictures, talk about it, have a local newspaper come in and review your food so that people can start kind of drooling a little bit over what's to come, and they start picking what's striking their fancy for Restaurant Week and figuring out which restaurant they're going to hit during those 10 days. So I'd say just stay finger on the pulse on longmontrestaurantweek.com where you'll see everyone's menu being hosted. Because
I don't think you could say there is a specific type of Longmont food because, you know, like the Taste of India, that's wonderful food, but you wouldn't say, oh, that's all anyone in Longmont ever eats.
Oh, absolutely. The diverse restaurant scene here is pretty incredible. Everything from high-end dining to Indian food to Mexican food to American mix fusion food.
Yeah, to bakeries, to pizzas, to
hot dogs.
Oh, and bakeries, there was something interesting too.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think when we talked about bakeries on the phone, it was more of a hypothetical. Like, this is something we have proposed that, you know, if a bakery were to come on, they could do. In theory, you know, bakeries have a little harder time fitting into that price point. Like, what do we do when we normally sell muffins for $3 a pop? So Karen and I had bounced the idea off each other of potentially making, you know, a bigger order available that you'd only get during the restaurant week for that price point to be redeemed at a later date. No one has officially taken us up on that offer yet, but you know, the idea is still out there because we both stand at the chamber willing to help restaurants come up with their menus and bounce ideas off each other. La Mama Mays has now signed up for Restaurant Week as well as Treat Snack House, so they do fall into more of that what do we give our customers at that price point that really makes it valuable? And we've come up with several ideas that people are really excited about.
A wedding cake made of cupcakes for $18.71.
That would be
it's my
an
idea.
absolute steal. I know that Michelle is very creative, and La Mama Mays actually recently will be opening up their second location. So they've been here on Kimbark for years now, 5 years I think, and they've just recently opened up where Ramana Cake House used to be. I think actually yesterday was their first day opening, so that's going to be March 7th. it's going to be really, really exciting to see what they do. I mean, Michelle and her mom are incredibly creative in what they bring to Longmont. So it's just kind of the challenge to the restaurateur on how are you going to make that work, drive traffic to your restaurant, and even consider driving traffic after restaurant week so that you keep that momentum.
That's the secret to it. Well, let's talk about how people find out about it, the exact dates, and the website, phone numbers.
Sure.
Yeah.
So the exact dates are April 20th through the 29th. So it's a 10-day long event during which you can go to any of these participating venues. There is more information at longmontrestaurantweek.com. There you'll be able to find all participating venues and their menus, as well as businesses, events happening in town, special hotel rates if you're coming from out of Longmont.
Wow.
We're making this really big. So
Oh, that's wonderful.
yeah, and we're also establishing a very large social media presence right now, with the hopes of making sure that everyone in Longmont knows that there is, delicious deals just outside of their home coming up in April.
Oh, that is so great. Is there a phone number people could call also?
I'd say if you have specific questions, call the restaurants directly.
Oh,
you can
good
always
idea.
call the Longmont Chamber if you've got questions about participating or if you're a business interested in getting involved. But I would say call the restaurants directly. All of their information will also be on longmontrestaurantweek.com. So you'll be able to see their menus, go to their websites, and get their phone number if you need to make reservations.
All right. Well, thank you all so much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank
This
you.
was so
I have to
fun.
tell you,
Yeah.
it made me hungry.
I know. I'm telling you. I'm like, is it lunchtime yet?
I know.
Holy cow.
I should have eaten before I came here, before we
Should
spent a
have
half an hour
done that.
talking about food.
Yep.
Save up your money for
Exactly.
restaurant week. That's
Exactly.
good. I'm Linda Bond. This has been Love You Longmont, and this is my last show because my husband and I are moving back to Texas. But it's certainly been fun, and I can't wait to hear more about Restaurant Week. Thank you all for being with us.
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.